Alright, welcome back guys, or welcome if this is your first time here. I'm Vision here with Blind Entertainment, bringing you guys another video. Today I'm going to be talking about the news regarding Spider-Man and the MCU. So if Marvel and the MCU is something you're interested in, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and hit that bell icon. That way you don't miss any more Marvel news from me moving forward. Now let's begin. In case you missed it, roughly about a month ago, it was announced that Sony and Marvel did not reach a new deal and that Spider-Man would be leaving the MCU. Now, I had always thought that it was going to be like just this big stunt that they pulled off just to get fans all riled up because it was announced right before D23. So I figured it was just an announcement just to rile fans up and then they reach a deal. However, it was not that, and it ended up being true. However, as of today, it was announced that Marvel and Disney have reached a deal to keep Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the MCU. Now, I had said this would eventually happen, whether it be this soon or a couple years down the road. I knew this would eventually happen because, Marvel would figure out a way to get this. They would have undercut Sony. Sony would have screwed up and gone back to them. Either way, something would have happened that would have brought Spider-Man back into the MCU. I said that from the beginning, and I guess I was somewhat right. Now, from what we understand, they have reached a deal where Marvel will get 25% and Sony will have 75% say over Spider-Man as a whole in the MCU. Now, I think that's a reasonable amount. I think the old deal where Marvel only had 5% and they had 95% was ridiculous. I understand Marvel going to the table 1 in 50 would be ideal. However, like I said in previous videos and live streams, I think they came to the table too high. Now, if they had come to the table originally with this 25% deal, I feel like they could have negotiated a little bit better. Maybe have gone closer to 50%. However, we got what we got, and Spider-Man's going to be in the MCU. Now, according to this, he'll be in the Marvel MCU for one more Spider-Man film and one more other Marvel movie. Now, as that stands, we'll probably get, Spider-Man 3, of course. And then, depending on what they do, we'll probably get another movie with Spider-Man somewhere. It might be an Avengers movie. It might be a whole, Sinister Six movie. It could be him teaming up with another group of people. You never know. But that's exciting news. I've been so excited for Spider-Man 3. As of right now, I already have my predictions as to what Spider-Man 3 will be. A lot of people probably won't agree with me on this, but I think it will be Spider-Man facing off against Kraven the Hunter, with it being Spider-Man hunting season. Now, I know a lot of people will probably want to see the Green Goblin, Chameleon, Dr. Octopus, or whatever, but I think they will go with Kraven the Hunter. If you've seen any articles regarding MarvelStudios head Kevin Feige, he has even said that he liked introducing characters that haven't been in Spider-Man movies before, given, Mysterio and the Vulture. So I think since Kraven the Hunter hasn't been done before, they might do that villain. And I could see that even with how they ended Spider-Man Far From Home. Now, if you haven't seen that, I'll get into a little bit spoilers here, so you can skip ahead of this. But in that, at the end post-credit scene for Spider-Man Far From Home, we got Jameson announcing through Mysterio's recordings pretty much who Spider-Man really is. So I think that the MCU will take advantage of that and have Kraven the Hunter be after Peter Parker. I really believe that's what they're going to do, and I think that would make a lot of sense. And I think, yes, I know people want to see the Sinister Six, but I think they'll make the Sinister Six its own little movie. But I think they could easily introduce characters beforehand. We could even get like a post-credit scene in another movie, one of these other movies, introducing Green Goblin. We could have, say, another villain like the Chameleon or Dr. Octopus show up at the beginning of this third movie and face off against Spider-Man, but get defeated and end up, being put in jail. But if you look at it right now, we already got 3 of the established Spider-Man Sinister Six villains. We got Vulture already in the MCU. You got the Scorpion, which is already kind of hinted at. And even though people will claim he's dead, but we got Mysterio, all you can say is that he faked his death. You could easily bring him back to life that way, which I could see Mysterio doing. So I would still consider him at least a member of the Sinister Six until, announced otherwise. Now, we also got the Tinker, but I don't think he'll be like the main guy in the Sinister Six. But I think easily they could introduce Kraven the Hunter in this third movie, have one of the other villains introduced, either the Chameleon or Dr. Octopus, in the beginning of that movie, and then somewhere in between, in a mid-credit scene or whatever, for one of these movies ahead of Spider-Man 3, have like the Green Goblin or Dr. Octopus, either one, be introduced during like a post-credit scene or something. I think that would work the best, and I think we would easily be able to get a Sinister Six lineup by the end of Spider-Man 3. Now, as it stands right now, this third Spider-Man movie, from what the reports are saying, is set to be released on July 16th of 2021. Now, if you already looked at Phase 4, that's a huge slate already. Just movie-wise, we got Shang-Chi coming out in February, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness coming out in May, Spider-Man then will be coming out in July, and then Thor: Love and Thunder comes out in November. So that's a packed slate, the first time Marvel will ever do 4 movies in 1 year, which in my prediction will be what happens eventually down the road. I didn't think it would happen this quick, but I think it was eventually going to happen down the road. Now, as for this second other Marvel movie containing Spider-Man, now there have been rumors that he'll be teaming up with Deadpool. That could definitely be a possibility, which would be cool to see. There were other rumors going around that he could possibly appear in the Fantastic Four movie, with Reed Richards replacing Tony Stark as his mentor character. Or the way I would prefer it being done, I know a lot of people want to see him in Deadpool. I understand that. But personally, if we get 2 movies with Spider-Man, I would prefer it be a Sinister Six standalone movie and Spider-Man 3. That would be my personal bet that I would want to go with. I understand people might want to see him in Fantastic Four, him and Deadpool team up, but I'd rather have us get a Sinister Six movie rather than see him in Fantastic Four or team up with Deadpool. Now, I'm sure down the line we'll get reports or whatever where Marvel and Sony eventually, make up another deal, and Spider-Man will remain in the MCU and hopefully show up in one of these other movies with Reed Richards or Deadpool or whatever, or an Avengers movie. But personally, for me, I would prefer it be a Sinister Six movie right now. And then hopefully they can put him into Deadpool or another Avengers movie or Fantastic Four, whatever they want to do. But that's just my hope right now. This is very exciting news. I think a lot of fans were disappointed and saddened when we heard that Spider-Man would be leaving the MCU. But I think Sony knew what they had to do. They knew that Spider-Man was a better property within the MCU with their contracted deal. I feel like, I know a lot of fans will say Marvel was in the wrong, Marvel bullied them. But I feel like, in my own opinion, Marvel, at least in my opinion, should be able to get this character. Yes, Sony owns the rights, but whether you like them or not, they have had a poor track record with Spider-Man. Yes, the Sam Raimi first 2 movies were good, but I feel like they can't afford a third flop with Spider-Man, because that could easily screw up Spider-Man. And if they did do that, it would probably be good for the MCU, because if they did do that, then they'd have to hand Spider-Man over. But I'm okay with what they did right now. Now, other news states that in addition to what is going on with Marvel, that Tom Holland's Spider-Man will also be in Sony's, I guess, Spider-Verse films. Now, this feels a little odd to me, but I'm curious to see what goes on here. Apparently, he could possibly show up in Venom 2. Now, I'm cautiously interested in what they do here, because even Kevin Feige has said that this is exciting and possibly going to be fun future for the MCU and Sony. And apparently even some of the Sony properties like Venom could appear in the MCU. Now, the only reason I'm a little cautiously optimistic is because I don't know how this is really going to work between the two movie universes. I feel like this could easily backfire and like, I don't know. This just feels weird and odd to me. At the same time, like, I'm excited and curious to see what they do with both these universes. But at the same time, I could see down the road, Sony just saying if their movies turn out good with Kevin Feige somewhat helping them, I could see Venom and the other whatever Sony movies that they decide to do in their Spider-Verse, I could see them kind of being confirmed to be in the MCU, which would be cool because then we'd be able to have Venom, Carnage, and all the other Spider-Man villains and characters in the MCU. So, again, I'm cautiously optimistic because I feel like this could be good or it could totally flop and be a horrible thing. But I feel like right now with the Spider-Man MCU stuff, we're in good hands. I feel like Kevin Feige knows what he's doing, and just hope and pray that whatever is going on with the Sony Spider-Verse doesn't end up putting some bad taste into the MCU Spider-Man. Now, in the end, this is truly very exciting news. We got Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Man back in the MCU. We got some interesting, exciting news regarding Sony and Spider-Man. Just hope that turns out good and exciting. But either way, we're in good hands, I feel like. This is the beginning of a new era, I feel like, for Spider-Man. And I feel like, at least to me, I feel like we're going into a good era with Spider-Man, at least in the films. We got Tom Holland again back in the MCU, and we got some interesting, somewhat cool news regarding Sony, like I said. So, whatever goes on here, it's gonna be good for Marvel, and just hope that Sony doesn't screw up with its stuff with Spider-Man. Either way, it's going to be an interesting, cool future with Spider-Man. But I'm going to hand it over to you guys now. What's your thoughts and opinions of this news, and what are your hopes for the future of Spider-Man in the MCU? So let me know all that in the comment section down below. So yeah, guys, that's my thoughts and opinions regarding the Spider-Man and Marvel Sony news. As always, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and share. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and hit that bell icon. That way, don't miss any more Marvel news from me moving forward. And you can go follow me on Instagram and Twitter, which I have linked in the about page of my YouTube channel. This has been Vision here with Blind Entertainment, and I'll see you next time.